All right, what up, Perks? So, as usual, I don't really have a script for this, but we're going to run it. And the case I want to talk about is Mr. Dexter Taylor right here. And it's basically getting into the fact that some judges shouldn't be judges, and in fact, some judges should be in prison. That's where Dexter's judge should be, is in prison. Now, Dexter, during COVID, found gunsmithing. And we're going to go through a couple other documents. But anyway, I think he built 13 firearms, and he had some other receivers and stuff. He built some polymer 80s, built some ARs. Shouldn't be any issues. No criminal history. Matter of fact, software engineer. Seems like a perfectly upstanding citizen. Should have been zero issues with this. Anyway, somehow law enforcement catches wind that something's going on. I think what they did was they got records from Polymer 80 and a couple other companies, and then figured out, oh shit, this guy's getting these parts. And then, of course, they got to freak out about ghost guns. Now, this is where I get into the fact that New York State, one, has always trampled people's constitutional rights. He argued this case on, or tried to argue this case on Second Amendment grounds. Now, he was just convicted the other day. The judge in this case basically told him the Second Amendment doesn't exist in my courtroom, and I'm not going to let you guys argue it. Now, he can argue it in his appeal. That's going to be a year or so out, maybe. Where I say this judge should be in prison. She's basically taking this man's freedom with no just cause and destroying his life. And he deserves restitution. Now, it shouldn't even have passed being charged. And when it went to court, it should have been dropped, his case. I can't remember how many charges they actually argued on. There are other guys that have done great videos on it. But let me pull up another tab here, and I'll show you why it shouldn't have gone anywhere. Swap a couple things around, and let me make this bigger. This is the New York State Constitution. The New York State Constitution, there's Civil Rights Law, Article 1, Section 4, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Where did we see that before? The right of the people to keep and bear arms cannot be infringed. Any honest judge, any honest prosecutor looking at New York State Constitution would see that this is an absolute violation of his constitutional rights, and would have dropped this case and basically told whoever the person was that charged him to go pound sand. But it's not. This guy just got convicted. Looking at possibly 18 years in prison. I can't overstate how ridiculous this is. The DA, the judge, the prosecutor, attorney general should all be in prison and paying this guy restitution. But the state does not give a rat's ass about this guy's state constitutional rights or the federal constitution. Because the state constitution gives him all the protection he needs to be able to own arms, which is to acquire any way he needs to build, to purchase, you name it. Constitutional protections are there. But again, tyrants don't give a rat's ass about constitutional rights. And this case pisses me off to no end. And then looking at his case a little bit, just playing around some last night. I posted some on X last night about it with another brother that we kind of shoot back and forth sometimes. Dexter's not the only one. There are multiple cases of people that were getting stuff from Polymer 80 and other companies that do 80%. There are multiple cases where people are going, and guys printing, sorry, multiple cases of people being charged with having these weapons illegally, even though there's nothing illegal about them, and going to prison. This is absolutely ridiculous. And let me pull up another tab, and I'm not going to read through all this. I'll see if I'll try to remember to link all this in the description of the video. This is basically, I think, what you would call the affidavit in Dexter's case. And this very top, the first paragraph in here should have been enough to get his case thrown out. We'll breeze through this real fast. Plaintiff, the people of the state of New York or people, through their attorney, Letitia James, which, if you've paid any attention about stuff going on with court cases in New York these days, especially with Trump, you've heard her name thrown around, and she is an absolute crooked ass tyrant, and I will say that to her face. Attorney General State of New York alleged the following with personal knowledge of the actions of the Office of the Attorney General and upon information and belief as to the actions of others. And I'm just going to read this first paragraph in the statement. New York State is grappling with a public health and safety crisis caused by gun violence. That's absolute horseshit. It's being caused by violent people, and New York is throwing them back out on the street. I mean, it's catch and release. They release people quicker than bass fishermen release fish. It's insane. All right. A significant part of the crisis is attributed to the influx of homemade, unserialized guns, commonly known as ghost guns. That's also horseshit. A lot of their issue is with firearms that were manufactured by large manufacturers, and they just scrape serial numbers off. These weapons are just as lethal as any other handgun or rifle. No shit. They're actual firearms. They're just privately manufactured. But the the defendants, and they're listing a bunch of defendants, Polymer 80 and others, these weapons are just as lethal. But the defendants sell them directly to customers or consumers untraceably, without a background check and without any federally required record of their sale, because they are not selling firearms, they're selling parts. In many cases, defendants will sell consumers who are otherwise or could not legally purchase firearms from licensed dealers. Well, I forgot to share that tab. But anyway, that's the first paragraph of this, talking about gun violence and ghost guns being this huge problem. Dexter's not a criminal. He bought federally legal parts, precursor parts, manufacture his own private firearms, and I submit to the class that the state constitution gives him every protection for doing so. You don't even have to go to the federal constitution. This shit should have stopped at the state. And before I get completely wound up and just like want to throw something through a wall, I think I was going to go a little further, but I think I'm going to end it here. And I might talk about some of this on the live later. But this shows you the ridiculousness of this. This isn't about your safety. This isn't about keeping guns out of the hands of criminals or violent people or abusers or people with mental illness or anything like that. This is merely about control. And it's proof of that when you take someone like Dexter and you throw their ass in Rikers fucking Island, basically a gladiator camp, and they never harmed another living soul. I don't even think he fired a round through any of his guns. So when you hear about cases like Dexter's, just remember, and I use Gifford's site to pull up the constitutional reference here because Gifford's is absolutely anti-gun, and it's proof that they don't give a flying rat's ass about constitutional rights. Letitia James, this judge, I can't remember her name offhand. She pisses me off so bad it ain't even funny. They should be the ones in prison, not Dexter. And when I finish this video up and actually post, I'll try to make sure that I throw the GoFundMe, or not GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go for Dexter down in the description. As long as I get it done, if you guys don't mind, man, if you got the change, throw $5, $10 Dexter's way, please do. You know, he's got a long way to go before he get to appeals. And I'm afraid he's going to have a long way to go to fight this to the courts to actually overturn this case. Because he is in Rikers Island right now. Post on X last night said he just got moved to general population. It's amazing to me, Bert. So, anyway, guys, perps. Let me get out of here. I'm probably going to crank a stream up in a couple minutes before I even probably post this. There's some oral arguments coming up that are going to be pretty interesting from Donald Trump's team. So, end it here like we do always, man. You perps be cool. Keep that thing on you at all times. Oh, and by the way, this is one of those spooky ghost guns. This is my everyday carry. I don't know what's got to happen to change this shit, guys, but really needs to change. Perps be cool. I'm out.